Hi everyone, this is Jenny. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. It's funny because I'm talking about this today, but finals week is over. So, oh well, I'm just gonna talk about it and hopefully it's helpful to somebody in the future. So what is finals week in college? Finals week is a week where all the classes you're taking are basically having the last exams before turning in your grades. For some people, finals week is just about writing essays, depending on your major. For other people, it's actually going into class and having an exam either on a Scantron or written or whatever it is, but you have to go in and answer questions there. So today I'm going to talk about the answering question ones, not really about writing essays, because of my major, I didn't really have to write many essays, but I hear they're very stressful. But again, with anything, I think if you're pre-prepared, you give yourself enough time, you always give yourself room to excel and even do so much better than you anticipated. First, I want to talk about what you need to do before getting ready for those finals week, finals exam. Obviously, a few weeks before, you always want to go look back at your syllabus and see what's going to be on the final exam. Some teachers, at least in sciences, will give you from the beginning of the semester or quarter, whatever it is, till the end. So you have to know everything in that course, or some of them kind of break it up and do a midterm and then a final, and then you only need to learn what you learned from, you only need to study for the stuff that you needed after the midterm and before the final, which is a lot less material sometimes, or sometimes it's just equally amount, but it's just a lot of material in general, mostly for the sciences. So you got to figure that out first. And then once you figure that out, you have to get all your work together, all your notes, all your handouts, whatever it is, your presentations that you had, get them all together and make sure you have them all so you're able to study. I can't remember the times where I had a friend or two that would be like, oh, we had that as an exam? Like we had that in our lecture, and then they find out they're missing a whole day lecture because they either didn't go or like accidentally stored their paper somewhere, they can't find it, and then they're last minute scrambling and looking for these lectures that were non-existent to them before and they had never looked at this subject before. So always get all that paperwork together, whether it's on your PDF on your computer or whether it's a printed lecture handout that you have or whether it's your notes, always have them in like obviously dated orders so you know you're not missing anything. College is that time when you start learning how you learn. It's kind of vague to say, but it's true because in high school, at least for me in high school, we were taught a same way for everything. And it wasn't very personalized, but in college you get to personalize your education. You get to learn the things you want to learn a certain way you want to learn it. And so that just means you got to figure out how you learn. Some people are visual, auditory, whatever it is. What's the way you learn? Do you learn by seeing things? Do you learn by hearing things? Do you learn by doing things? So you have to figure that out, and that's how you end up figuring out, knowing your style is how you end up tailoring your education to be able to conquer everything in school. Because once you know how you learn and you practice that, and that's how you're learning. So say I'm a visual learner, I'm just gonna look at my screen and I'll keep practicing, re-seeing and revisiting, and I'm gonna be able to keep that in my brain and actually learn it. So you always have to get that, and you always have to figure that out. How do you learn as a person? Once you have that, you know then how you're gonna study. One of the big things I would always say, I know it's so hard because I did it too, is don't procrastinate. Things just get harder when you have a time crunch, and I get it. Some people are really good with time crunches, but like thinking back, I would do a lot of things in time crunch, and I would take the exam, and then after the exam, I didn't know anything. And it just came back to nip me in the butt later because I still needed to know that stuff because it was very basic fundamental knowledge that I need to know. And I needed to know it for the next course. And the next course, I'm like, dang, I have to like revisit it every single course because I didn't really learn it the first time around. I just memorized it. So don't procrastinate. Take your time. I know some of my friends used to we would have the class one day, the next day they would go on and start studying from the handouts or whatever the professor went through that day. They would either read the book, study the handouts, whatever it was, they would just kind of revisit it frequently. So then when they had to actually study for the final, they had been already studying for the final all along. So they just had to give it a quick glaze before and they were good. As for me, I used to like hardcore not study at all, and then when the finals are coming, I'm like, oh crap, I need to study. And like about 2 weeks before, I would just hardcore study, like do all-nighters, sleep super late, and try to get it all in my brain, all in like 8-10 days, whatever it was. And long term, it just didn't work. It doesn't work so well long term. I mean, at the time it worked. I did really well in my courses, but long term, I don't think I was able to retain all the information I should have retained because I was just memorizing for the test. So don't do that. Just word of advice. One thing that has helped a lot, and I think it's still till today, I still have group sessions with friends that are in the same career as I am, just so we can get up to date with a lot of the new techniques in our field, just talk about it, talk about our experiences, ask for advice. That's how you learning from other people. At least I know that's how I learn. I learn from other people, from their experiences, their mistakes, or something they've read, and then it just opens up my mind like, man, I need to read that article as well. And so what it is studying in a group. I used to love studying in my friends group where I made so many friends in my college because basically all my friends were in the same major as I was. So we just like would study all the time together. We would quiz each other. We would discuss things together. We would ask each other questions. Like, it was just such a nice community that we built for each other, to all of us to do well in school. And I know not all schools have that camaraderie. Like, maybe some schools are more competitive and like people feel like they can't do it because there's gonna be a bell curve and this and that. But at least for my school, I didn't feel that at all. We all were there to succeed, and if we all did really well, then that just means that we all tried really hard. But yeah, so I had friends that we would just bounce off ideas off, like, hey, what do you think about this question? Would you answer it this way? Would you answer it that way? And then we would just quiz each other on stuff that we just learned, so we were just kind of fresh in our brain, and it just helped so much. So even now I do a study group with one of my co-residents. Like when I graduated with her, even now we call each other to discuss cases. She'll send me pictures and she'll be like, what do you think about this? What would you do in this case? And then we discuss all the options, everything. And so I still do that because I feel that's the best way of learning. Anyways, those are my 2 cents on how to study. It helped me. I hope it helps you. If you have any questions, comments, put them down below. And always remember, subscribe, like, and comment. Bye.